Hello. So this is part 2 of my testimony. Took me a couple of days to come back to this because, I'm fearful, right? What are the ramifications of, doing God's will? And then not only that, but, you know, the devil's been busy in my mind. He's been, people are going to make fun of you, or people are going to have negative things to say, or just you really want your business out there like that, And then on the flip side of that, I'm listening to sermons, and I'm listening to people, and, seemed like every word that I was listening to was telling me, live out your purpose, or don't be afraid, or, there's victory on the other side of your fear. Or one that really stuck with me was, how many times does God have to show you before you actually do what He's asked you to do? Like, how much do you have to lose before you do exactly what God wants you to do? Kind of sort of a close call for me yesterday was, I'm far away from my family, and, one of my family members wasn't answering the phone, and I got a call from another family member that's on the other side of the country, asking me if I had spoke to this person, and their fear made me fear, even though in my mind I'm saying it's okay, it's all right, everything's fine, So I tried to reach out to that person, tried to connect with the people that I know that are out there, to go and check on this person. And I allowed her fear to manipulate my fear and my belief and my thought, and it rang back to, how much do you have to lose before you decide that you're going to do what God asked you to do? And I don't want to lose anymore. I really don't. I don't want to lose anymore. And so, even though I might get judged by the things that I say through these testimonies, I just have to do it. And so, these messages may not be for everybody, but I'm sure that it's for somebody. On part 1, I left off by talking about, dealing with a guy that, put me on the street to prostitute, and him going to sleep and me taking everything that he had and leaving. At this time, I wasn't going to church anymore. I left and went to California, and I was living with my cousin, and still just trying to find my way. I had already graduated with my GED. I walked across the stage with no family in the audience. But it was a huge accomplishment for me, because it was something that I set my mind out to do, that I accomplished and succeeded at. So I lived with my cousin for a while, and, we struggled. I can honestly say that I ate ramen noodles probably 6 to 7 times a month, a day, or not a week, I should say. You know, that was my meal. That's what we ate. Um, and she had friends. You know, in the area that we lived in, there were um, gang gang. There were gangs, and um, at this time, my cousin was affiliated with a gang. Not necessarily joined the gang, but she was a part of, I mean, you know, she was dealing with a gang member. And I ended up meeting a guy, actually my first child's father. This man had a girlfriend, but we still messed around. He taught me how to drive, and I got pregnant. Well, because I knew he had a girlfriend, and I really didn't think that there was no future with us. I mean, mind you, I was only 15, so 14 going on 15. Got pregnant and decided to go back home and go home to my mom. And my mom was in Ohio at this time still. Got pregnant, called my mother, went home, told her I was pregnant. At this time, my father was still alive. He was living in Colorado, and we were writing back and forth. I knew he was sick. We were writing back and forth. And so I wrote him and I told him about being pregnant. And I remember that his letter back to me was, "That's stupid. It's a stupid idea." And of course, at 15, you know, I'm just, you know, rebellious. I'm, you know, mad because, you know, he said that I was stupid. And so I stopped talking to him. And probably a few months later, he passed. Well, I was so angry, though. Like, when he passed, I remember crying, but I didn't want to go to his funeral. So my mom and my little sister went to the funeral. They came back, found out that I had a brother. I have a brother that is either a couple of months older than me or a couple of months younger than me. Not sure. And don't really know what his name is, but he is my brother. Anyway, had a next door neighbor that kind of took me in, read, "I love you so much, rest in peace." You know, she had 3 children. Her oldest son told my parents at that time that he wanted to take care of me. Now, mind you, I was pregnant, 15, and, you know, of course not going to school. I was working now at this time. And anyway, after he had the baby, and boy, it was weird because all the while I was pregnant, I felt normal, you know. And as soon as them contractions hit, it was like, Lord, take it away. I changed my mind. I don't want to be pregnant. I was in labor for about 36 hours, and he was there with me the whole way. Matter of fact, he ended up signing the birth certificate, not under any pressure or duress or, force or anything like that. But I guess maybe he was showing his commitment and his love for me. So when he graduated from school, he went to the military. And, his mom at that time didn't really like the fact that I was, so much of an influence over her son's life. And when he got out of boot camp, I took me and my son and we went to North Carolina, watched him graduate, and we stayed there. And I thought this was the man that I was going to spend the rest of my life with, so we got married. And as I think back on it, because, we went to the Justice of the Peace, and he had on his military uniform, and I had on a black dress. I didn't care. I thought it was cute, right? But I was young. I was 18 going on 19. So I didn't think it was a big deal. So anyway, we got married. He was staying on the barracks through the week, and then he would come home to our place on the weekends. And I was so lonely, and I was so like, it was a lonely time for me. Like, I was trying to figure out, why did I do this? Like, I separated myself from my entire family and moved way out somewhere I didn't know anybody with my child, young, didn't really know how to take care of a child, all for this man. So where we were living, I met a friend and started drinking a lot, drinking so much to where I was making myself sick. So I ended up in the hospital, and they told me I was having kidney failure and that I needed a new kidney, or they wanted to put me on dialysis. Here I am, young, 18, 19 years old, and my life is getting ready to change dramatically. And I remember praying like, God, no, this can't be right. This can't be how you can't be, no. So I was in the hospital for probably 2 weeks. My mom came down to see about me and everything. And of course, my husband at the time was there with me. And I don't remember every moment, but what I can say is I walked out of that hospital without dialysis, and that kidney failure was gone. That had to be the grace of God. Like, I didn't realize it though at that time. I didn't. I still continued to live how I felt like I wanted to live my life. But kidney failure. How do you go from being diagnosed with kidney failure to no kidney failure? I can't explain it. But all I can say is it was God. It was God. So because I got sick, I decided that I was going to go back home to my mom's house, you know.